Got it. All right. Super slow. All right. Redirecting. It's done. But come on. Let's go. Come on. What's up? All right. This is going to be a problem. All right. Anyway, we're back on. Okay, good. Dude is trying to get in. Great. All right. So let me introduce us to what I was talking about. I want to give you documentation. I want you to have information, okay, about why I said what I said. Because we're not trying to be religious, right? We're really trying to understand the Torah. You know, that's what we want to do. We want to understand how it works. We don't want to be, you know, reading things and thinking it's the Torah and it's not. That's how people get on all these different, you would say, doctrines and teachings, because they're taking stuff from Genesis and they're trying to create a doctrine out of it. You see, and you can defend against this easily by looking at the documentation that we have. So in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter number 5, if it would like to participate, depending on how fast this goes, I want to read something to you. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, listen, folks, this is what it says. Okay. Then Moshe called to all Yisrael, and he said, listen, he said this, listen, Yisrael, to the laws and the rulings which I'm announcing in your hearing today. That's the Kukim and the Mishpat team. That's your, you know, your decrees and your rulings, your judgments, right? So that you would learn to take care to obey them that I'm telling you today. All right. Yahweh, your Elohim, made a covenant with us at Kol Rev. Yahweh did not make this covenant with our fathers. That's Abraham, that's Yitzchak, and that's Yaakov. But with us who, all of us here alive today. And then later on during the book of Devarim, he tells us, I'm not only making this covenant with you guys who are standing here today, but those who are not even standing here. But the point that I want to bring out is the fact that the Torah is not Genesis. It's not. Okay. So let's get an understanding, because if we move forward, we're like, okay, I know what you're talking about now. Now it all makes sense to me. So why is Yah telling us about Genesis? Why is he telling us about, you know, the history of how our Father came to be? He wants us to know about humanity. That's what he wants us to know. He wants us to know what the beginning was. What is the head of things? What did I do? I want to show you my power, and I want to show you what I did in the earth. And I want you to recognize that I'm the one who did it. I don't have time to be telling you this as we're going over the Torah when I deliver you out from Mitzrayim, but I'm going to have it written so you always have a reference point. So when I said that I did it alone. Can't nobody come to you and lie to you and tell you that they did it. You see, I did it and I did it alone. You see? All right. So the Torah is not in the book of Genesis in terms of what the covenant he made with us and our fathers. Okay. The covenant he made with Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, that has to do with land and descendants. Okay. And him being our Elohim. And there's things in that covenant that that you and I participate in, right? He made a covenant with the whole entire world. Occulti, Dr. Kavika had mentioned it and said she read about the rainbow. What did you find out about the rainbow?
That it was a covenant. That it was a covenant and a sign given to him specifically. No.
Yeah. He didn't give that just to Israel. Okay. He gave it to the whole entire world, right? That's what he did. So I want you to understand something. The reason why the creator has given us the book of Better Ship is to tell us how things began and who was in charge. Also, too, I got a red alert for you. I got not, it's good news, but it might be disturbing to you because I always like to mess with people, right? What I want you to understand is this, and we'll talk more about this on Yom Shabbat, okay? Yom Shavi'i, which is the Yom Shabbat. Yah is telling us about humanity, okay? But when he talks about us, he talks about us differently. He's letting us know about humans, and he's letting us know about how he made them and what bodies they come in and what he wanted them to do, okay? So everything he's talking about Adam is not Yisrael. He's not. He will be a provider for the actual vessel of the human part of Israel, right? Because Abraham come from the fathers who came from Adam. So he provides the flesh, okay? But when Yah talks about us, we're different. We're different than everybody else, okay? We're going to talk more about that on Shabbat. So am I telling you you're not human? Yes, you're human, but there's something special about you. There's something different about you, okay? Especially if you're Yisrael, there's something different about you. So let me turn our attention to the book of Bereshith, which is Genesis in the English, which they have here, the beginning or the genesis of things. And I want to draw your attention to chapter number 1, and we're going to begin, I believe, in verse number 23 or 24. We're going to look at the Hebrew as well, because there's a question that's always asked about what does this in particular verse means, what I'm going to show to you, okay? So we already know that when Elohim said, let's start right here. He just finished creating, let's just say the 5th day. So Elohim said, let the water swarm with swarms of living creatures, and let the birds fly above the earth in the open dome of the sky. And Elohim created the great sea creatures and the living things that creep, so that the water swarmed with all kinds of things. And there was every kind of winged bird, and Elohim saw that it was good. Then Elohim blessed them, saying in verse number 22, be fruitful and multiply and fill the water of the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth. In Hebrew, it talks about how just multiplication. And then in 23, it says to us that, so there was evening and there was morning the 5th day, which I've instructed you and told you that what a day consists of. A day is as when light is out, because that's what Yah names day, or, so it has to do with fire and it has to do with light. 24, I need you to pay very careful attention for the next couple of verses, okay? It says that Elohim said in verse 24, let the earth bring forth every kind, okay, of creature, every kind of livestock, crawling animal, and wild beast. And that is how it was, okay? Elohim made each kind, okay, come from this word min, of wild beasts, and each kind of livestock, and every kind of animal that crawls along the ground. And Elohim saw that it was good, okay? So the creator is now, when he's speaking in verse number 24, the question is, who is he talking to according to the text? In verse number 24, who is Yah speaking to? Because he always directs a command towards something, whether it's the heavens, whether it's, the ocean, whether it's the clouds, whatever it is. So in context, in verse 24, who is he saying? Who's he talking to? What's the subject of this in particular phrase?
Let, so the earth?
Yes. Okay. So day number six, the conversation begins that he's speaking, he's giving a command to the earth. And he's telling the earth, I want you to bring out every kind of living creature and every kind of, behemoth livestock, every kind of crawling animal, and every wild beast. which is a kaya, lions and tigers and all this. And so that's how it was. So it existed as he said. And then it says Elohim made. So he gives a command, right? So it can respond to him. And then Yahweh himself, Asa, this is like the third time that this word made is used. Okay. So he only made 4 things in the last 6 days. Okay. 4 things. So the first thing he made was the rakia. That was day number 2. The second thing that he made was the sun, the moon, and the stars, which are the 2 great lights. That was on the 4th day. Okay, so 2nd and 4th, and then on the 6th day, he made every kind of wild beast and every kind of livestock and everything that crawls along the ground. And he saw that it was good. So that's the 3rd thing he made. The 4th thing that he's going to make is humankind, right? So then Elohim said, let us make, or Asa, humankind in our image. So this has been a question that's been brought up by a lot of theologians, a lot of scholars, a lot of Christians, a lot of Hebraians. I've had tremendous amount of arguments with this, and I win every single time. Because the conversation, when Yah is talking, he's still, because if you look at the first word, then, so he's still talking. He's still talking, and he's still talking to the earth. So when he says, let us make humankind in our image, he's talking to the earth, which makes sense. And he says, in the likeness of ourselves. Some people took that to say that's Christ. Some people have taken that to say that's the angels, the Malachim, the Elohims that they say that it's out there, but that's not according to the text. Okay. In the Hebrew, he uses, and I'm going to show it to you. He uses the letter nun in front of the word na'aseh, right here, verse 26. If you've been in a Hebrew class, you know that this means after, letting you know that something happened after a series of things, not before, because his name and his title is after. He said, after he did all the things that he did, then he said, let us. That us right there, they got to capitalize because they're going to try to Christianize it. Okay. So you got to watch out for that. In Hebrew, there are no capital letters. So this letter right here, this nun on front of this in particular verb, okay, is first person common plural, us. And I say means to make or made, okay? So I want to make Adam, okay, in our image. The new on the end, which is the nun and the wall with the dot right here, that right there means us, or excuse me, our. Still first person common. So you see a first person common here, and you see a first person common here. Yes, Akoti. Cheryl, good to see you.
Very good to see you. Good to see. So the earth was the us that the Most High was talking about. Does that have anything to do with why man was created from the earth, the dust?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because he's asking the earth to participate in the creation. So when he's talking to him, he says, let us. He's talking to the earth because he's already had a conversation. He told her, okay, to bring out forth the wild beast and bring out the behemoth, which is the livestock, and bring out the creeping thing. And then it says, do you know it's continuing? Because here he gives a wa. This in particular letter right here is a wa, and wa means and it's a conjunction. It means that something is continuing. So there wasn't a stop in his, hey, this is what I'm having a conversation. And said, and he said, in the English, it said, then he said. But the truth of the matter is, and mean that you don't start a conversation off with and, you don't start a new sentence off with and. It's a conjunction. The wa, because that's the name of the letter, is a tent peg. Okay. And a tent peg connects the tent to the ground. So it's used to make a connection. So these words are being held by the wa. And the wa in front means and. And this letter right here is used 50,000 times in the Torah. 50,000 times. So it's always, every time he says something, he's connecting it. But the us here is let us make man. He's not talking to angels. He's talking to the earth. And he says, let's make Adam, right? In our, there's that new again, likeness. Okay. The kid Muthu, right? I need to make it. And listen, I want him to be in our image, and I want him to be in our likeness. Okay. We know that the creator doesn't have body parts. He's not human, right?
Right.
So then we have to ask ourselves, then what is he saying? What he's talking about is the constitution of what we are and what we're made of. Now, if you know the body's made up of over 70% what?
Water.
Water.
There you go. It is
Water.
70% water. You understand? Water, 70%. Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, you would think, well, how much water is on the earth? I would probably guess to say it's about 70 to 80%. We think it's more land than there is water. So what Yah is trying to let us know is you got to find and understand your connection to creation. That's what you need to understand. You're made from the same substance. That's why you and I can roll around in the dirt and be okay. That's why kids can play in it. You understand? We're all made of the same stuff, okay? So, you know, they say there's elements of the stars and stardust and all that, and that's wonderful. But you and I have a connection to creation. You and I are like trees. He says that my days of the days of my people will be like a day of a tree, meaning that you're going to last for a long time. He says also too that your life is like grass. He also calls us sheep. He also says, I'm gonna make you a wild ox. So if you look at the terms, you look at the words, and you look at the examples and the metaphors that the creator uses, it always has to do with something with animals or agriculture. You see, it always does. Like when you look at your body and you look at your nervous system, it looks just like the root system of a tree or a plant. Okay. So you have to find your connection to creation. And so the creator is letting us know that, okay, well, I want them to be in our image. They're going to take on my image and they're going to take on your image. What Yah is talking about in terms of his image, he's talking about his character. I need them to take upon my character. I want them to be beings that have power, and the power that I want them to have is one of mind. But they can't exist on the physical planet without your image as well, Adamah. Okay, so Adam's mother that he came out of is called Adamah. Okay, so if you look at closely right here, Adam, Adam, right here. But the name of the earth is called Adamah, Adamah. Okay, and it's feminine. Okay, so this is where he was taken out of. You see, that's what he's taken out of. All right, and the likeness is in terms of how one is to behave and rule his life. And he also says, and so the conversation is still going on, and I want him to yerodu, okay? And that means rada, and that is to rule, okay? But also too, I want him to tread, okay? I want him to have what they would call dominion and listen to the things that he wants us to have dominion over. I want you to have dominion over the fish, okay? Don't let all these letters scare you. The name of a fish is called a dog, like a dog, but it's dog, okay? So I want you to have rulership over the dog, okay, which is the fish of the sea. I want you to have rulership over the birds of the Hashamayim, the air. I want you to have rulership over the behemoth. Okay, he doesn't mention here about the kaya, because the kaya are the wild beast. This is the reason why sometimes man takes a wild beast and he tries to be his friend and it turns on him and kills him. Sometimes it works like that. Sometimes they'll be cool with you, and other times they won't. Okay, so these are the areas that he says, and all the earth. I want him to rule over this too. And Vikol, Uvakol, all the earth. So I'm giving you dominion and rulership, and over every creeping thing, every insect and every little, thing that's in the earth, I want you to have dominion over those things. Okay. That's what I want that creeps on the earth. Now, what's interesting is he didn't say, I want you to have dominion over the heavens. I don't want you to have dominion over the seas. I don't want you to have over that. You don't have dominion over these areas. Okay. What do I mean by over the heavens? That means you don't have any control over this and everything in it except for those birds. You can have control and rule over them, but you cannot rule over the heavens themselves. You cannot rule. And I want you, what's missing in here that he tells you that he don't want us to rule over? I got
His
the kaya, or huh?
He doesn't want us to rule over his territory. We have no business in things above the ground.
Yes, but also too, what's mentioned or what's not mentioned, excuse me, is men.
Explain that. I'm lost now.
I'm going to tell it to you.
Okay.
Okay, so what they've told us is like, you're going to have control over all the earth. That's what I want you to have control over, right? The creator's not telling us that we got control over the earth. I'll read it again, right? So let's see here. Pull it down for us. He says that I want Adam. Okay, he's telling this to the earth, right? And he says, and they, third person masculine plural, that's humanity. That's humanity. Okay. When he says Adam, he said, I want, that's this right here lets you know that it's third person masculine plural. Okay. And he's talking about them. Okay. Which you can see right here. I'll let them rule over the fish. Number one. Okay. Of the sea, not the sea. You don't have no power over the sea. I'll let you rule over the birds of the heavens. You don't have no right over the heavens. You got something over them, and I'll let you rule over the fish, and I'll let you rule over birds. I'll let you rule over the livestock. Okay. And why would I let you rule over the livestock? Because you're able to tame them and have them do what you want them to do and carry your loads and so forth and so on. Then he says, Uva call the arets, the haaretz. What does he mean by that? Because I'm going to have you rule it means that you'll have rights over that which the earth brings forth. And so what does the earth bring forth? It brings forth its grasses. It brings forth its plants. It brings forth its trees. It brings forth those things. Okay. The stones or the rocks and the wood and all that to build. So I'll let you rule over that. Okay. That's what you're going to rule over. But as you can notice, and I've got to clear this out real quick for the sake of time, you do not see nowhere in here where the creator, and then he said, I'll let you read over the creeping things. And where did the creeping things, where do they hang out? They're inside of the earth. Okay. So you can rule over that, right? The bugs and the caterpillars and all that kind of stuff. You can handle that. But you are not to rule over men or women. Now listen closely to me. The rulership of the creator is over his creation. You see, y'all didn't put man into our hands. Man is supposed to be governed and ruled by the creator. You understand? And what I mean by that is complete dominion. Okay. Now you have all these nations, right? You got all these nations out here and they're being ran by governments, but they're not being ruled by the creator. See, the earth is Yahweh's in the fullness thereof and all that dwell therein. Everybody's supposed to be bowing down to him. Right now, they're not doing that because they're on their own agenda. They're on their own plan. Psalms 24 says it's all his. Everything is his. The rulership is his. And he asked the question, what is man that you're so mindful of him? Why would you give him rulership over everything that your hands have made? And that's a question that you and I are going to answer on Shabbat. I just want to bring out the point, according to the text, that we stay in the text, Yah has never mentioned, not one time, okay, for Adam, mentioning humankind, to rule over other humans. You're not supposed to. Yah is the one who rules over man. That's the way that he designed it. Now, family structure, there's leadership in there, right? There's making judgments and so forth and so on. But overall, Yah doesn't want any human being to rule another human being outside of Yah being the authority. Yah is the authority over all humankind. Okay. Like, ask the question is, do other malakim or other beings like seraphims or cherubims, these are called malakims and messengers, and they call angels, but that's not their name. He never mentions them being ruled by another. They're not ruled by other angels. There's leadership, but ultimately the rulership belongs to the creator. That's my point. So we're not created in the image. Oh yeah, you're welcome. We're not created in the image of an angel. We're not created in the image of anything except for the earth and the creator himself. Okay. Now I want to introduce you to the fact when he talks about the creation of the human being. Okay. 27. He says, Vayivra Elohim et ha'adam. Remember, they use the word create, but in agricultural sense, and what we've learned is that this is really a feeling, like he filled the earth and the heavens with things. He didn't, when he made things, he was just filling, he was populating, he was fattening up the earth. So now what he's done is he's taken a part of the earth now, okay, called the afar, from the ground, and he said that Elohim wants to fill, meaning he, which is Elohim, filled the man with his image. Okay, listen, he filled the man with his image. Well, I thought you said let's make him in our image. Now it's breaking it down to let you know what his image is. Okay, this is what his image is, and it's going to blow your mind. The B'Tselem of the creator, meaning the image, the resemblance. I don't even know if I'm supposed to resemble, or the shadow of the creator is Oto, a male, and a Nekeva, a female. That's the image. That's the Zalem of Yah. That's what you and I got. So, okay, so Adam, listen carefully. Hello?
I am sitting there.
Damari, no one's talking to you.
I'm sitting there.
There we go. I'm sorry about that, everyone. iPhone 9, you got to watch your phone. Breaking my thought. Okay, so the B'Tselem of Elohim that he created, Otho. Okay, so really what he's saying is, I'm going to tell you the image that I made so you don't ever get it mixed up. I want to show you what my image is. Yahweh's image, which this is an Otho, meaning I'm going to point you to the image. Otho means a direct object marker, which is the eth, which is the first two letters, which is an arrow. I'm going to point you to him, third person masculine singular. I'm going to let you know what the man is. He's the one that I'm talking about. The image of a man is a car and una keva, in male and female. That's my image. He created or filled them. I filled them with my image. So you say, well, how is that possible? Is the creator both male and female? And the answer to that is yes, the energy that the creator has given them is both male and female energy. You can't have this human being without both of them. Okay. A lot of times people put the female on the back burner and say that she's not the man. And the fact is she's Adam. She's part of the being of both male and female. She's part of Yah's image, and she should not be minimized, okay, at all. She does find herself in a very precarious situation in chapter number 2, and excuse me, in 3, she finds herself in a very dangerous and interesting position. But she should not be minimized. We're going to talk more about what she represents and why it's important for her to be who she is. So I wanted to bring that point out as well. Does anyone have any questions so far about what it is that your image is? And so our sisters should understand that you are made in his image. He actually gave you his character too. Okay. Even though he sets up leadership and says, hey, this is what it's going to be. I'll just give you a hint. I'm not going to give you a hint. I'm just going to tell you what it is. The woman was designed to be a what? I don't need to wait. I'm going to tell you what it is.
Help me.
What is she? Okay. She's supposed to be what we call an azer. Okay. And an azer is someone who is a helper. Okay. That's what she is. She's a helper. All right. And she has that name and that title. And that was her reason for even being brought forth, because Yah, okay, said that it's not good that a man should be alone. So therefore, he went in search of trying to find someone that would be the opposite of him. They call it negero, meaning for him to look at something and it would resemble him, right? So he's looking for it and he couldn't find it, right? So let's continue to read. In 28, Yah would bless them. So this is the second blessing. And so if you notice in 28, he says he blessed Otham, he blessed them, Elohim, and he said to Lehem, to them, Elohim Peru, and the Uvaru'u is exactly the same thing he said to the fish and the birds. The same thing he said to the behemoths and the beasts of the field. He said the same thing. Be fruitful. Second, increase your numbers. And third, multiply. As we've been discussing over the last several months, we have a misunderstanding about what blessing is. Blessing is always going to be about being fruitful. This IMP means it's a command. This is a command to humankind. This is a command to be increase your numbers, and also to fill the earth. I want you to participate, because what I did is I filled the earth with things. So what I want you to do is I want you to keep that process going. Now, a lot of us have been told that you should never die and you're never going to die, and man was never going to die until he ate that fruit. That is a complete lie. That's a lie. Yeah, that's like saying that Yah made the lion, and the lion that he made on that day was going to live forever. How dumb were we to believe that the Creator would tell us, be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth? Why would somebody tell me, why would he tell us this if you and I were going to live forever? Does that sound like you're going to live forever?
No.
No, it means that you and I have a command. Yes, Sister Cheryl Okoti.
Okay, I'm trying to look on these little small icons here. To be fruitful and multiply and to fill the earth, the help meet had to be there, which was the woman who wanted us to procreate, right? And then we procreate, and you really, in essence, we never die, because your spirit never dies, but your lineage, he wants that lineage to continue. Is that correct, what you're saying?
Yes, because yes, I'm absolutely correct. So listen, when y'all spoke to the Adamah, right? That's the Adamah. Okay. Come on, don't slow down on me, internet. The Adamah is the earth. Okay. Maybe for this pen to come back on. The Adamah is the earth. All right. Gotta use my finger.
Adamah, Mother Earth. I mean, is
yes.
That, okay.
That. Absolutely. Okay. And so what comes out of her?
Produce, product.
Yeah.
Fruit, food,
we have
children.
Fruit, right? Tree come out of her, correct?
Yeah.
Right? So when Yah tells us to be fruitful, he's given the same command that he gave to the land. You understand? It's supposed to bring forth fruit. It's supposed to bring forth multiplicity, right?
Because he made
And
us from that image.
yes,
sorry.
it happens.
Okay.
It happens through the process of someone planting a seed. The Creator is trying to get us to get connected to creation, to tell us what it is, who you and I are, and what our job is. Okay? So humanity's job is to multiply. Humanity's job is to be fruitful, like a tree. Humanity's job is to bear forth the fruit, shed its leaves, go through its seasons, and then once that fruit is done, another batch is supposed to come up through that root system, which is called, that's why they call them family trees. You understand? Because we weren't designed to be here and continue forever. You're supposed to come and leave and hopefully come back again, because the tree just keeps bringing out the same, depending on what the root is, it starts bringing out those descendants and descendants. That's why you and I are part of the root system of Sarah and Abraham, okay? And so our family is a wonderful family, or a royal family. But I want you to get the connection about what he said to all other creation and what he said to us. And sometimes we forget that we're created beings, and we forget what our responsibilities are. Our responsibility is to tread and have dominion over the fish, over the birds, over everything that's creeping along the ground and upon the earth. Do you see? This is what he's letting us know. That's what it is. And he said, Elohim Hine, meaning behold, here it is. He says, I've given, Nathati, I've given to Lechem, talking to what? I'm talking to the human that I just made. I'm giving to you, plural, all of the herbs of the field and the seeds in which are on the face of the earth, what? To eat. Yes, Sister Cheryl.
Okay, so when he gave human dominion over the fish, the sea, the air, not the sea, but the air, the birds, meaning. What does that mean? Giving us the dominion over them. What are we supposed to do with them? Treat them?
Number one, when he talks about dominion, what he's talking about is our rulership and our authority, right?
Okay.
That's our authority, like a king is over a land. And so he governs that land, right? And we're going to find that authority in chapter number 2, because Adam, right, before he built, because the woman was built, by the way, she wasn't just made from the dust of the earth. Okay. Right. So we're going to get that too. Okay. He's letting them know that, hey, listen, you're going to have dominion over these things, meaning you're the chief over everything. That's why he's in the better shift, because he's the summit. He's the head. He's the head over all that Yah has made. I'm giving you and telling you what your responsibilities are. And that is to have rulership and dominion. That means that if anything needed to happen or take place, I give you the right to execute judgment on whatever it is that I told you have authority over. Okay? You have a right. Yeah. To rule, because that's what rulership is, to have rulership. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was thinking about like dominion and associating it with dimensions, like an ant, for example. They don't see us above. They only see at their level. I think one dimension, but we see at 3 dimensions. And then there's something over us seeing different dimensions. Is that the same meaning or parallel? Or
no, because God's saying because I've given you my image, I haven't given anything else my image. So just based on me giving you my image and my likeness, your authority supersedes everything on the face of the earth. Nothing on the earth has dominion over you. Okay.
And not even, we don't have dominion over each other, like you said, right? Okay. I got it. I got it. I got it now.
So he's talking in reference to that that he has created. Okay. That's what he's saying. Now there will be rulership in your families in that structure, but in terms of humanity, there's nothing on this earth that he did not put under our authority, except for, like I said, the wild beast, because he doesn't mention them. So what we have to
Yeah.
do is take the creator at his word and say, well, this is what he said we have dominion over. This is what it
Okay.
is. Now, even if
Okay.
the ant is in a 2-dimension and they don't see like we see, it doesn't mean that
Yeah.
I don't have authority. I can smash them and do whatever I want, kill them all. I don't,
Gotcha.
whatever.
Right. Okay. Right.
So, but back
Okay.
to what you're saying here in this part of the structure, which we need to understand, is that even the way that he's designed the food for us, it was only going to be at the beginning, nothing but seeds of the field, the herbs, and the seeds that come out of them, out of the ground, which is upon the face of all the earth. I'm giving you that for food, and I'm going to point this arrow to all the trees in which there's peri. So there you go, be fruitful and peri off the tree, the fruit of the tree, and everything that contains seeds. My point that I want to make here is that anything that moving forward on your diet that you have, you want to eat stuff that has seeds in it. Like watermelons, you want it with seeds in it. Cantaloupe, you want to make sure it has seeds in it. Anything with seeds, you should eat that which has seeds in it, because the seed represents life. There's material inside of the seed. The reason why we have problems with people who are allergic to what they would call gluten and stuff like that is because what they do with flour is they enrich it, or they pulverize it and gives you the chaff, and you're thinking you're eating wheat, and you're not eating wheat. They're not. So even our food structure has been destroyed because we're not eating things with seeds in them. You need to eat food with seed in it because that's the way you were designed, period. He says the grass with seed, the herbs that bring seeds, and on the face of the earth, and every tree that has fruit in it with the seed. So the idea is to stay with food that is a yiye to la akala, that will be food for you. Okay. And he says, into every beast of the earth, into every bird of the air, into everything that creeps upon the earth, which in it has breath of life, and a nefesh. Want to bring that point out. When Yah created the birds in the air, and he created that which creeps on the ground like ants and spiders and flies and worms and all these different types of things, he's actually given them a nefesh of life. They have a nefesh of a kaya. They have life, and they have a soul. Yeah, the bird has a soul. That's why you have authority over it. The nefesh has a soul. You understand? There's certain things you have control over. But the point is, a lot of times you think, you and I, we're told that we're the only one with a soul. That's not true. The birds of the air have a soul. The things that creep on the ground has a soul. The behemoth has a soul. And guess who else has a soul? Guess who else has a nefesh? Take a guess.
Man.
Yes, but guess who ultimately has a nefesh, a soul? The creator has a soul. He has a soul. You said, well, where's that at? That's in Leviticus chapter number 26.
Okay.
Yah says that you upset me and you troubled my soul. He has a soul. The creator has a soul. Okay. So now you and I can see, oh, that likeness. Oh, that desire. So if I have a soul and the creator has a soul, he has a desire. And what he gave me was what they would call a desire. Because the soul is consistent of mind, body, and soul, everything together. In the Greek mind, they've divided everything up. So they make you think that your soul is not part of your body. Your soul is part of your body. It's part of your person, who you really are, the essence of you. So the birds have it, the fish have it, the wild animals have it, the ants have it, the spiders got it. All of it has it. Anything with life and has a nefesh is a living soul. So, but, am I saying we're not special? No, I'm saying we are special. You and I have a soul. Yah's given us a soul, just like he's given everything else, but he's also given only us his image.
Is there a difference between soul and spirit?
Yes. There is a difference between a soul and a spirit. And what do we know about the soul? The soul is called a nefesh. Let me write it up for us right quick. That's an excellent question. Okay, so there's a few things. This thing will just cooperate. Let's see. Come on. Internet is slow, so it doesn't want to respond. Okay, let me just do that right here.
Internet is great until
Yeah.
it's not.
To us not. Okay, so the
Until it's not.
first thing is called a nefesh. Okay, a nefesh is given to everything that has breath. Okay, and they call the nefesh the soul. Okay, that's what it's called. The next thing that you have, you said with the spirit is called the ruach. Ruach. Okay, there's something else. Okay. The next one that you have is called a neshama, which I was going to share with us.
Everybody doesn't have a spirit though, right? Like ants don't have a spirit.
No, they don't. Neshama, okay? Writing with my finger. That's why it's taking so long, because the pen didn't want to work. Okay. So you have a neshama, you got a nefesh, you got a ruach. Okay. All right. And you and I also have what they would call, I was going to write it in Hebrew, but basar. Basar. And a basar is flesh. Okay. Which consists of, so there's more. What gets confusing is like, okay, we'll take one word like basar and say that's flesh, right? But then we really don't understand what that means, because you would think that the flesh means skin, but in Hebrew, skin is called or as well. Okay. So you might have a body, right? But then it consists of a whole bunch of things like your eye and your skin and all these. So they got different words. But what I want you to focus on is this, is the inner workings of your true. Oh, and then also too, let me not forget the word right here, kaya, has the word. You have a kai. You got that too. Okay. So let me explain first. The kai is your stomach. Okay. That's your stomach. And the kai is represented by life, because the life is the stomach. A person can't live without food in their stomach. Once like the person that dies, my mother-in-law just died 2 days ago. And one of the things that happened to her was she stopped eating. So then when they knew life is over, okay? So kai is one, right? The nefesh is operated as your soul, okay? Meaning your inner being, okay, of who you really are, that consists of, listen to this, it does include your body, because this is what it occupies. It does include your emotions. That's part of it. And it also has to do with one's appetites. Okay. And that is not only for food, it's what you taste, it's for your desires. All that's part of your soul. Okay. The ruach is your spirit. Now you see how it stopped on me? That's the spirit, or the breath, or the wind that you and I are breathing. Okay. And the creator himself has a spirit. Okay. Yah says, I've given spirits to everybody that's walking on the face of the planet. I've given that to everyone that walks on the face of the earth. I've given everyone a spirit. So everyone has a ruach. Listen to this. And human, let me specify. Every human being has this. Okay. Do you remember he told us that the animal, he said, when you bring that animal to me to sacrifice, you got to bring it to me. And when you do it, because the life of that in particular soul is in its blood. Okay. The neshama is different than the spirit, even though the spirit is in the wind, which is the air that you and I are breathing. Okay. It's air, it's wind. Okay. And I'm going to share it with you in just a moment what that really means, the ruach. Okay. And then you have the neshama. The neshama is this. It's a puff. of life. It's like a pant, like a woman is going in child labor and they ask her to breathe. She, you know that every time that one that's neshama. So when the creator, I'm going to show it to you. When the creator breathed into mankind, he didn't give him a long breath. He didn't go like you and I have been taught, like you do when you're giving CPR. He didn't do that. Someone's asking a question. Let's see what the question is. Okay. Well, okay, I'm about to show you what the neshama is. Excellent. About to get that to you right now, Koti. So the creator tells us, okay, and that's the end of the 6th day. So let's go and let me show you what the neshama is. Chapter number 2, it starts off, as you've read earlier this week, it tells you how Yah had finished all his work and he blessed the 7th day, and out of all the days he'd done that. But let's get right to the neshama for the sake of time. Yah begins to tell us the creation, or the Tolodoth, meaning the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created in the day that Elohim made the heavens and earth, which means he's going to give us a little bit more detail about actually how things came into being. So in verse number 6, it talked about how a mist came out of the earth. Yah had not allowed it to the earth to be watered with rain, but there was a mist coming out of the earth, and out of that mist of the water, it would make the ground into mud in some form, right? So what the creator did is he wayatzar, or wayitzer, meaning he formed Yahweh Elohim the Et Hadam out of the dust from the ground. So he formed him, which on Shabbat, you and I are going to talk more about this word. This word right here, we're going to talk more about on Shabbat. So you can really understand what that means, because there's something interesting about it. Okay, so out of the dust, which you and I should know that we're made from the Ha'adamah, right, his mother, the Ha'adamah. And he breathed, okay? He blew air into his nostrils. And what did he breathe? He didn't breathe Vakai. He didn't breathe any of this. He breathed, meaning he did the neshama right here. That's what he breathed into him. And a neshama, as you will see, is nothing but a puff, or a quick of air like that, okay? Or, okay? So he breathed into him. Don't go by the English translations, because they will tell you some things, okay? So it's the breath, it's the neshama. He breathed into him, they got spirit. That's not from a Hebrew perspective, okay? It was it's like his little pant of air. Here you go. Divine inspiration. Okay, this is better suited right here. It was literally like a blast of air into him, a quick blast, like that. That's what he breathed into him. And once he gave that to him, he instantly became a living soul. There you go. It's a pant. It comes from nesham. It's a pant. It's a gasp, like a person's giving birth. Okay. Right here, it only occurs one time, and that is in Isaiah chapter number 42, verse 14. Okay. It's a gasp of air, a quick one, panting. So that's what he gave him. That's why life for us is nothing but a puff of wind, a puff of air. Okay. So the neshama is that. It's just a quick, and that's why it can be taken from us so quickly. What you and I is what we do is we get confused between that which Yah has given us, and we try to connect it to that which we're aware of, which we're aware of the spirit that they told us about. We're aware of it being wind. We're aware that we breathe air. So we're thinking that's what's giving us life. What you need to understand is that the air that you and I are breathing is the environmental air that Yah did not use to bring us to life. Our life consisted of Yah breathing into humankind, that little pant, that little of air, that quick little, that's it. We didn't get that. So he gives us that. And that's kind of like a little spark to get things going with us. I want to share about the Ruach, like I told you though, because the Ruach is important. If you just have a few minutes, I want to share it with you. Where's the Ruach? Let me see. Let's see. Okay, here it is. I'm going to show it to you in just a second since I get it. It's a word that was used, okay, that described when the Creator let the Spirit, his Ruach, hover over the earth. They call it Markafeth. He let it hover over the earth before he did anything, okay? So he has a Ruach. And it is right here. Let me show you. Let me show you. So we got to understand the agricultural terms, okay? As we start learning from an agricultural perspective, we would be better off. Let me see. Why is that tripping? Oh, okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the Ruach, okay? I put a picture up here of the Ruach that deals with these leaves that are blowing around because the Ruach means wind. That's what it is defined as. It also has an extended meaning of breath and spirit, okay? Because that's what we breathe. That's not what got us started, okay? And as humankind, we lack the ability to see the wind, right? So you can't see this wind. Neither can you see a spirit. However, Yahweh is the great love towards us. He'll have us the ability to feel both of them. Meaning you can feel the wind, and also too, you can feel his love towards us. You can feel the breath and you can feel the wind. You can feel them, but you can't see it. So he doesn't give that to us. But the agricultural understanding of this word, so when someone tells you they have the spirit of Elohim, number one, Ezekiel says that you don't at this moment, okay? Because you don't have his, you have your own. But what the Ruach is, from a wind perspective and from a breath perspective, it comes from this idea to travel, okay? And the wind has a different path. It has different paths that it goes on, right? So put that in your mind. When you think about wind, it blows in directions you don't even know where it's coming from, all right? So the picture graph that's being used for this in particular word is the head of a man, which is the letter Resh, okay? Or excuse me, yeah, it's Rosh. I said Resh is Rosh, which looks like this, okay? And the next letter right here is this Ket, okay? So the head of a man is a picture, and the second one is a wall, which is this letter right here, the Ket, which separates the inside from the outside. That's what a wall does. A wall in a house, a wall in a room, a wall to a temple, okay? And when you combine these two letters together, it means the man outside. And then it gives you the understanding that the men who were generally outside, they had responsibilities, right? Outside of the tent. The women were handling things in the tent, the family, the kids, putting everything together. But outside of the tent, there was responsibilities that need to be made, and that is the feeding, the watering, the caring for the livestock. That's what they did. So the livestock are healthier and more productive when they're on a routine. So think about the word path and think about a routine, okay? Therefore, the man who follows a routine or a prescribed path each day when caring for his sheep has a more productive life and healthier animals and a greater outcome when he's on a prescribed path. So when we think about this understanding of this word Ruach, you need to remember that it has to do with the path, and the person and the individual that's on a prescribed path will be able to follow a routine. So the Creator says that, listen, I'll give you a spirit, but you can do whatever you want with that spirit. Your spirit, you can lead them wherever you want. Whatever routine you get on, that's what you're going to do. What I'm recommending for you to do with your spirit is to get on my path. Because if you follow my path, you're going to be more productive. You might end up being more healthier, like if you were taking care of some livestock. So what does this mean for us? It means that if you and I would govern ourselves and govern our spirits and our ruachs, because that's what you and I have, if we govern our ruachs, you and I would have better outcomes in our lives if we had something that was prescribed. I mean, my daughter right now, she goes to nursing school, right? And she has to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and so forth. And this is the path she chose. And so therefore she follows it. And she travels this path every week. And guess what? She's doing really, really well. But along the way of being on that path, she doesn't have time to do some of the things that she used to be able to do. Why? Because she's on a prescribed path. She's on a routine. So she makes her lunch at certain times and so forth and so on, and things work out really nice for her. So, you know, with that being said, a person who is on a prescribed path and they know what they're doing, they're going to have a more productive life. Okay. Families that have order and have, you know, budgets and that have meetings and that talk and plan and are planning, those people are going to be more productive and they're going to be healthier and the house is going to function more efficiently. So the job for us is we need to get on some type of prescribed path, not just on a prescribed path to be religious. Our prescribed path is supposed to help us live better lives. And but you'll be more predictable. You'll know what's going to happen if you're on a prescribed path. And then if something goes wrong, then you can look at the work that you've done over that last week or two or whatever, and you can evaluate and you can assess it and say, okay, well, what happened? Well, this is what I've been doing. So when something pops up, you'd be like, oh, it broke the routine. That's why I had this problem. You see? So that's the idea behind the spirit of the creator. He has his spirit, which unfortunately you and I don't have at this moment. He's going to give it to us. He says that in the book of Ezekiel, which I don't have time tonight to show it to you. But for reference, if you want to go verify it, go verify chapter number 36 of the book of Ezekiel. Talks about when I bring you back, I'm going to wash you, I'm going to cleanse you, and then I'm going to give you my spirit. So the Christians and the Hebristians believe that they have the creator spirit. And he says, when you have my spirit, you're going to be able to carry out everything I've asked you to do. There won't be anybody teaching you anything. Okay. Also, too, in Ezekiel 37, it talks about, I'm going to give you my spirit. When what? When I bring you back to the land. Right now, you don't have his spirit. Right now, you have your spirit. The spirit that's in us is different than the creator spirit. But what did he say? I'm going to make you in my image and I'm going to make you in my likeness. So I'm going to give you different attributes of me. I have a soul, so I'm the giver of souls because I have a soul. I'm going to make humanity both male and female. Why? Because I am both male and female. They both work together. They both work together. You need both of them in order for it to work. You understand? You need both of those energies in order to make it happen. So in order for there to be a connection between the heavens and the earth, the creator says, I want man to be connected to both the heavens. I want him to be connected to me and while he's connected to you. I didn't leave him there just for him to be connected to the earth. I want a conjunction. I want us to be together. I need there to be some kind of connection. So in order for him to have his relationship with me, I need to give him part of me. I need to give him something from me so he can relate to me. You see? So I'm going to give him part of who I am. I'm going to let him have a soul. That's what I'm going to do to him. I'm also going to let him rule. He's going to have dominion over the things that I've made. And we saw in chapter number 2 that Adam had the authority to name everything. He even named his own wife. You understand? So there's things that he did. Okay. So in order to make a conduit, in order for there to be a connection between the heavens and the earth, you and I are what they would call the linchpin. You and I are what make the connection. There is no reason for earth without humankind. There's no reason for it because Yah created us for it, to serve him in it. That's why you have hands and that's why you have feet to travel and to put your feet on the land. That's why you have hands to work the field and to take the harvest and to eat. That's why he gave you a mouth and he gave you eyes to see the beauty that he's made. That's why he gave you an ear so you can hear the sounds of the bird and you can hear the wind and you can feel like giving you, a nervous system where you can feel all the different air and you could get cold and warm. I did that for you. I let you participate on both levels so we can join both of them together. I want you to be there to represent me on the earth. That's what your job is. But of course, humanity failed the creator as usual. And he decided, well, guess what? That's fine. I got another plan. in Israel is now that plan. That's the plan. You understand? I know I made the nations, but guess what? I also formed somebody else that they don't know about. They don't even know. They think they know, but they don't know yet. Okay. So I ain't gonna hold you guys up any longer than that. Any remarks or questions before I close?
I have a question, but I hate to drag the class over. So maybe I'll just save it for another time.
No, let's go ahead and speak.
Well, I really need clarification on in Genesis, we're talking about Yah creating man and putting him in the garden.
Yeah.
And then Yah said it was not good for man to be alone. He'd make a fitting helper for him.
Mhm.
Then the very next verse says, instead of forming a woman, he made wild beasts and birds out of the earth and brought them to man for him to name.
Mhm.
He had already made beasts and wild beings in chapter 1, but now we're in chapter 2 and the man is in the garden. So my question is, are these two different sets of animals being created?
No, not at all. In the Hebrew, the way that it reads, because at first I was confused about that as well. So welcome to the club. What he's doing is he's giving us an account. He's not, when he told us the framework, the day that he made the beast on the same day that he made Adam. Okay. The same identical day.
Mhm.
So when he talks about, it's not good the man should be alone, therefore he brought to him all of the beasts of the field and everything, the birds, so he can name them. What he was doing was he was setting it up for man to know that he would not be able to find anyone suitable for him. Therefore, he accomplishes several things. He allows him to name each one of the animals. When he names them, remember in Hebrew, naming something means that you're naming something based upon its what?
Character.
His character, yes. So he's teaching him when he already knew that he was going to give him another mate. He wanted him to go through the process to tell him that no one outside of what I'm going to do for you is fit enough for you. So this is, when you look at our Torah, he tells us not to have intercourse with the what?
With an animal.
Right. And so man as a whole should know that, because when you look at an animal, he says, you're not like me. You're not bone of my bone. You're not flesh of my flesh. So he brings all those animals to him to, number one, to give him authority over them. Right. So he's naming them. He's proclaiming, because the same word that he used for name is called to proclaim. So Yah has put the proclamation in his mouth, and he had enough wisdom, knowledge, and understanding from the creator that was in him to be able to identify and call these animals what they were. Now, the way that it's shared or explained to us, it would automatically make us think that he made the man first and then he brought these animals to him, which is not true. It's just letting us know, according to what was already said, he brought those animals to him. He just let him know he made the animals again, but he didn't make them again. He just letting us know he made them, and I brought them to him for him to recognize that there's no one who will match you. There's no one like you. Okay. And then after he went through that process and said he didn't find anybody, Yah says, okay, now that he knows that, now I'm going to give him someone who's called Negeto, which is the opposite, will appear stand right before him. And when he looked at her, he made another proclamation. He said, this is bone of my bone. This is flesh of my flesh. So he's letting him know what it is, right? I hope that can bring some kind of, the way it's in English doesn't do it any justice. It's in the Hebrew that causes you to understand that I'm not telling you that I made man first and then brought him, then made the animals and brought them to him. That's not the way it went. That's not. I'm just giving you an account that I did make those animals. I did bring them to him. I do know that he shouldn't be alone. And guess what? I needed him to recognize that everything that he saw was not the opposite of him. It wasn't a ghetto. So I was firming up the knowledge, the wisdom, and understanding he has based on what he was seeing with his eyes. Because he only made that declaration after he saw her. He didn't make that. Yeah, he didn't say that to any other creation, which tells us that the creator is letting us know that the only thing that you should be looking at is that which is the opposite of you. So if I looked at another man and said, bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, Yah says that you're retarded. That's not the opposite of you. She's not the
Yeah.
opposite. So Yah's interested in opposites, correct?
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yes, Okoti, Cheryl. Okoti, Cheryl, you have your hand up. You're on mute. Unmute yourself.
I was having technical difficulties. I'm sorry. On light of what Okoti Pamela was saying, didn't he make the animals, the creatures on the fifth day?
He
And wasn't
made
that,
some of them.
oh, some of them. So
He made some of them.
were those animals that were already created what he was speaking of when he told Adam to name these creatures, or these were other creatures, new creatures?
They were the same ones. He just given us a little bit more detail about an occasion and how the woman came to be. He's letting us know that when Yah knew that it wasn't good for him to be alone, and he knew that he needed someone who was the opposite of him. So he allowed him to see all the animals and name them, right, to have dominion over them. And then also too, after he's finished doing that, he realized that there was no one for him. There's no one. He wanted man to know that. Creator already knows that. So man had to be put to sleep. And then when he woke up, he saw someone who was the opposite of him. And he said, oh, this is me though. Even though you're the opposite of me, you're bone of my bone and your flesh of my flesh. And then he begins to talk about when a man should leave his father and mother and cleave unto his wife, and to be attracted to her, right? Which is pretty interesting. A lot of us have been told that the Creator has said, a man should leave his mother and father, but the Creator didn't say that. Adam said that. Adam said, let a man leave his father and mother. Adam,
wow.
He's the one who said that. That's the proclamation that he made, not the Creator. So
yeah,
the Creator didn't name the animals. Adam did.
Yeah.
The Creator didn't say, let a man leave his father and mother. Adam did. The Creator didn't name the woman. Adam did. The Creator did not say the name Isha. Adam did. That's how much power he had.
Wow.
You see?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he now, if you look at Genesis chapter 1, the word Torah was used several times when Yah called out. So now Adam is doing the calling out now. So now Adam is calling out to the things in which the Creator. So that's why the Malachim are saying, what is man that you even consider him? You're thoughtful of him. Why you giving him dominion over everything? The work of your hands. Why would you do that? Who is this guy? Because he hasn't proven himself to be worthy of that. So.
Okay. That makes sense. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okoti Pam.
Yes.
So I just wanted to say then chapter 1 is like a generalization, and then chapter 2 you get more specific.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He gives us a little bit, he gives us detail, and he's more specific for the purpose of introducing us to what else is going to take place.
Okay.
You see?
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, at first when I read, I was like, wait a minute, are these two different accounts? But it says Toledot. These are the generations, meaning I need to tell you what happened. I got to let you know what happened, the history of this, because I'm going to give you some detail so I can build the case. Because now that I told you that he named all the creatures, right? He named all the creatures. Why did I tell you that? Because he's going to come in contact with a creature called Nakash that he named.
Yes.
So why am I telling? Because he named him because of his character. So he's the one who named Nakash. So why, of course, we're going to talk about on Shabbat. Why was he standing there stupid and acting like he don't know what's going on? How did he not know that it was the most subtle of all creatures? Why did he allow him to make a statement and his wife responded and he didn't say anything when a certain situation arose? Why did he not say anything?
Yeah.
You see? So that's the reason why Yah is introducing us what he did and all that. It doesn't mean that he's trying to get us to create a doctrine and teaching, right? I don't need to create a religion off of it like the Christians do. He's telling me I need to let you know what humanity is. I got to let you know why I need to help humanity, because humanity is crazy.
Okay.
You know that, Dr. Kavik and Dr. Jarrett, you know that. You know that, Gil, you know it. Humanity got problems. You see? and Yah says, I'm going to solve it. All right. Hallelujah. Wow. Thank you guys for staying on a little bit later. And I will see you if Yah is willing for me to be here on Shabbat. I will be. But I do want to put something on your calendar, though. I think it's November the 10th. That's going to be my mother-in-law's service. And so I won't be available on Yom Kamishi on the 10th of November. There won't be any class. Okay. But we will hold a Shabbat. I will do Shabbat. All right.
All right.
My condolences to your family.
Thank you.
Akika. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. She's going to appreciate that as well. Hallelujah.